afternoon as the Mets and Red Sox get set to conclude their series. Of course, one of the great features of Fenway is the Green Monster, 37 feet high and hollow inside. Steve Gelbs earlier was able to take a tour.
All right, stepping foot inside the famed Green Monster, the oldest manual scoreboard in Major League Baseball today. Has been going strong since 1934. The first thing you see, though, and this is really cool for Mets fans, take a look. 1986 World Series Mets. The guys here don't know who wrote that, if it was a player, if it was a fan, but that is the first thing you see when you walk inside the Green Monster. And this is largely unchanged, like I said, since 1934. The guys who work behind the scenes here, 2 to 3 per game, no heat, no running water, no air conditioning. The only thing they do have is Wi-Fi. That gives them an ability to update the scoreboard, the out-of-town scoreboard. If they want to update the game scoreboard for the current game at Fenway, take a look. This is the slot. These are the slots that these workers look through. They watch the game through here, and they update the scoreboard, which is right above these slots. And I don't know if you can get a good indication of just how difficult this is for these guys to put the score, to update the score. On the bottom here, right, this is the Red Sox line score. That's not too difficult. But up above it is the visiting team, the road team. And this is not easy to reach all the way up. Pretty narrow space. Put a number in there. I think I got it. I'm not sure. But it's very, very difficult. And they need to remember what inning they're in backwards here. There's no indication of first, second, third inning like that. So it's pretty difficult. These guys, they get pretty good at it, but it is not easy being behind the scoreboard here and trying to figure out how all of this works. As you can see, we saw the Mets signing beforehand, but look at all these signatures here. Everybody that walks inside the Green Monster has a chance to sign this scoreboard. We are going to do the same thing. Some really cool signatures. Neil Diamond signed it right around here. Bryce Harper, I believe, told us did it right over here. But I think, you know, we've got the 86 wall, so I think I'm going to make my signature, my presence known right along the same lines. All right. All right, there it is. The signature, now part of Fenway Park history.
Permanently. I mean, it's never going away. Steve Gelbs will be a part of the Green Monster in perpetuity. Mets and Red Sox, DeGrom and Sale. First pitch coming right up. Rivals in today's game got to cross paths, former college rivals. In fact, as you probably know by now, Jacob deGrom's only collegiate home run came against Chris Sale in the Atlantic Sun Conference Tournament back in 2010, the year they were both drafted. Sale was the more highly regarded prospect. deGrom sort of put himself on the map with his matchup against Sale that day, and now here they are 8 years later facing each other in a big league game for the first time. There's the Mets starting lineup, brought to you by Geico. Jay Bruce will DH for a second straight day. Wilmer Flores gets to start at first base against the left-hander, but the Mets leave 4 lefties in the lineup against Sale, who's pretty much equally tough against lefties and righties.
Yes, he is, as a matter of fact, Gare, and will be precise. 161 left-handers batting against him, 179 right-handers. Pretty incredible. Has not given up a home run to a left-hander this year, and only given up 10 all season. Pretty awesome.
Working on a stretch of 29 consecutive scoreless innings as he throws his first pitch of the day to Ahmed Rosario, who flies one out to center field. Jackie Bradley waits for it in the sunshine, puts it away, and we're underway at Fenway Park, 1 out.
And your Jeep Red Sox defensive infield. Mitch Moreland back in the lineup. I gave him 2 Gold Glovers on the right side of the infield. And in the outfield, you got pretty good fielders right there. Jackie Bradley can go get him. He's also got a cannon too somewhere hidden behind that graphic. He can throw out runners. Beautiful day.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Jeff McNeil, 3 for 9 in this series, including a home run, hitting .335 for the year, and he takes a fastball for a strike.
You know, Gary, you mentioned the left-handers in the lineup. Even though Sale's going to only probably go 3 innings today, get these young left-hand hitters up there against this guy and see what they can do. I totally agree.
Interesting. Sale throwing 90 and 92 on his first 2 fastballs to McNeil. This is a guy who averages almost 95 with his fastball. He had shoulder inflammation. It put him on the DL for a month and a half. Came back and made a start Tuesday against Toronto, threw just 1 inning in that game. 26 pitches. They pulled him. They plan to go 3, and Alex Cora said maybe 4 innings today, depending on his pitch count, as they try and get him ready for the postseason.
Well, they need him for the postseason.
And he falls behind McNeil, and that went in 96, and it's 3-1.
He's a modern day John Candelaria, but Candelaria was much bigger than Sale. Sale very lanky and lean, 181 pounds.
And McNeil grounds one weakly down to first. Moreland makes the flip to Sale, and that's the 2nd out.
But he would be a chore for a left-hand hitter, and that's for sure. I mean, whenever I faced Candelaria, it was like, okay, I gotta tighten my shoelaces a little bit tighter and my belt a little bit tighter around the waist. I had a long day at the office.
Sale was drafted in 2010, was in the big leagues 2 months later with the White Sox, who used him out of the bullpen for a couple of years before they sprung him on the league, and he's made the All-Star team every year since he became a starter since 2012, 7 times in the All-Star game. Wilmer Flores, first at bat of the series, and he takes low and inside for ball 1. Wilmer's playing time has dried up with the logjam on the right side of the infield, and there's a good changeup by Sale to get even a ball and a strike.
Well, it was going to be Wilmer was going to probably get a lot of the play at second base, but McNeil just kind of came in a rush and won that job and has been given every opportunity to play every day.
And Sale blows one by him at 97. Now he appears to have his full velocity, and it's 1-2. And Wilmer pulls one down to third, 1 hopper for Devers, and it's throw on target, and Sale has a 1-2-3 opening inning. Now it's deGrom's turn to take the mound for the bottom of the first when we come back to Fenway. Bogarts. Brock Holt gets the start at shortstop after his go-ahead pinch hit double in yesterday's game. And Steve Pearce, who had 3 hits yesterday, will serve as the DH in Martinez's stead.
And there's the Land Rover numbers for Jacob, and all you Met fans know all about his season. And boy, it would be nice to get that record over 500. 3 more starts.
Mookie Betts takes a strike. Betts 1 for 6 in this series, still leading the American League in batting at .338. 29 home runs, 71 driven in. Second in the league in on-base percentage, third in slugging. And a good slider by DeGrom to get ahead 0-2.
Mets pitching has handled the big bombers today, and that would be J.D. Martinez and Mookie Betts. J.D. Martinez getting the day off, as well as Xander Bogaerts.
0-2 to Betts, and the fastball high, 1-2. Brock Holt on deck, then Andrew Benintendi for the Red Sox, who've won 102 games, third highest win total in Red Sox history, with still 13 games to play. And the slider fouled off.
Well, Jacob, one of his big weapons, the reason why he's so successful is his slider. Watch it. That's around the middle, folks, and then it breaks right under the corner. Remember, we're a little bit off angle in center field.
1-2 coming, and Betts pops one foul. Wilmer over for a look, but that'll be in the crowd. DeGrom's ERA lead has only increased over the last week. Both Aaron Nola and Max Scherzer coming off rough starts their last time out. So DeGrom at 1.71, more than 7/10 of a run ahead of Nola and more than 8/10 ahead of Scherzer.
Ooh.
And the slider just off the plate, and Betts somehow laid off 2-2.
That's a good eye up there. Remember, Mookie Betts is a good 2-strike hitter. One of the best, having a real terrific year with 2 strikes.
7th pitch of this opening at bat, and that slider well off the plate, and it's 3-2. DeGrom starts the day second in the National League in strikeouts, second in innings pitched, 4th in the league in fewest walks per 9 innings. He's been that good. And it's on the outside corner. Got him looking at that slider for strike 3. Bill Miller called it a strike. Mookie Betts in disbelief. And DeGrom has a strikeout to start his day.
Well, that's a borderline pitch right there, and DeGrom got it. Either way you slice it, it's a good slider.
It's a ball. But it was called a strike.
I think it missed.
Yeah. I mean, Betts certainly had a case. Here's Brock Holt. Holt had the game-winning hit yesterday, a 2-run pinch hit double. There's your umpiring crew. Bill Mueller, the crew chief, with Angel Hernandez, Todd Titchener, and Chad Whitson on the bases. And the call strike on the outside, 0-2. Holt played a lot of second base earlier this year after Dustin Pedroia was hurt before they acquired Ian Kinsler. He's been more of a bench player since. Getting the start at short today, and he's down on 3 pitches for the second out. So DeGrom with back-to-back strikeouts, 2 down.
Well, DeGrom wanted to pitch here in Fenway, was excited about it, and accept the challenge. He's off to a rollicking start, and we'll take a look at the Lexus Met defense. Plawecki back-to-back starts. Flores gets the start at first base. Wilmer, as we mentioned earlier, lack of playing time, and this outfield's been pretty much a constant.
2 out and nobody on. Here's Andrew Benintendi, and he tries to lay off the slider and does. Ball 1.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's come out on shoot DeGrom here with a really good slider.
Benintendi 2 for 8 in this series, hitting .288 for the year, and he takes a fastball in the corner at 98, a ball and a strike. Jacob's 30th start of the year, and only one of those starts has he allowed more than 3 runs. That came back in April against Miami. Since then, 26 straight starts with 3 runs or fewer. That's a major league record. I should note it's actually tied for a major league record because the Tampa Bay Rays opener Ryan Stanek has 26 straight starts with 3 runs or fewer, but all those outings are 2 innings or less. So there's an asterisk there. Fastball at the knees for a strike, and it's 2-2. But in terms of actual real starting pitchers as opposed to openers, DeGrom has that record to himself. He's also had 21 straight quality starts, which is one shy of a major league record. 2-2 coming, and it's bounced foul. The record for most consecutive quality starts is 22, co-held by a couple of Cardinals, Bob Gibson in 1968, Chris Carpenter in 2005. And DeGrom can tie that record with 6 innings and 3 runs or fewer today. 2-2 to Benintendi, and he grounds one on the right side right into the shift. Comes up for McNeil. Side retired. 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts for DeGrom. No score after 1. Second inning, Sale and DeGrom each with a 1-2-3 first. Michael Conforto leads off for the Mets in the second against Sale. We've got a fly ball and 2 ground balls in the first. Conforto 1 for 7 in this series at a 7-game hitting streak stopped yesterday. Conforto, Frazier, and Bruce for the Mets in the second. And a first pitch changeup. Swung and missed, 0-1. Conforto at .237 for the year, 25 home runs, just 2 shy of his total from last year. 14 of those have come since the All-Star break. And slider off the plate, a ball and a strike.
147 innings for Sale, 221 strikeouts. That's a phenomenal rate.
In fact, when he got to 200 strikeouts this year, he did it in 136 innings, which is an American League record for the fastest ever to 200 strikeouts. Last year he struck out 308, which was only 5 away from Pedro Martinez's club record. It's fouled away. So if he can keep up the strikeout pace that he's on right now, would set a major league record for the most strikeouts per 9 for a starting pitcher with at least 20 starts. But he has tended to struggle late in seasons, and in his first postseason last year, in his 2 outings against Houston in the division series, he had an ERA over 8.
Yes, gave up 4 home runs, I believe.
So it could be that the rest that he had with the shoulder problem could be a blessing in disguise for a Red Sox team that certainly intends to go deep into October.
Well, you know, last year he would pitch those 308 strikeouts you talked about. It was in 214 innings. And it's just, that's Sandy Koufax stuff. It's just phenomenal.
This year he had a stretch of 5 straight starts with 11 or more strikeouts. Nobody's ever done that before. Just off the plate with the slider to Conforto 2-2. So he's a freak of nature. I mean, he's 6'6", he's 180 pounds. He has tremendous torque in his delivery, and he has been a dominant pitcher from the day he arrived in the big leagues. But keeping him healthy is essential to the Red Sox postseason plans. And it's interesting because in order for Sale to qualify for the ERA title, which he leads right now, he's 2 innings shy of qualifying right now, but he needs 15 innings from the start of this game to the end of the season. And if he only pitches 3 today, he might have trouble getting those 15 innings and qualifying for the ERA title. That's it to shortstop, and Holt is there to grab it. And the overhand throw gets Conforto 1 away. Let's go to Steve Gelbs, whose report today is brought to you by Volkswagen. Steve?
Gary, where I'm sitting right now, first base side, upper deck, I'm surrounded by red seats. Most of the seats here at Fenway Park are red, but in the right field bleachers, they're all green, except for one. There is one red seat, and that is to signify the longest home run hit in the history of Fenway Park, hit by none other than Ted Williams. A whopping 502 feet was the home run on June 10th, 1946, second game of a doubleheader against the Detroit Tigers. It hit a fan in the head, went through his straw hat. There was a hole in the straw hat, and he was quoted after the game saying at some point, how far do you have to get away? How far do you have to be away from home plate to be safe in this park?
500 feet is a blast, no question.
Well, he was the greatest hitter in the history of baseball. 2-0 to Todd Frazier, who has 3 career home runs against Chris Sale in just 10 career at-bats.
There's the section where he hit it. We showed you with empty seats. With that in that area right there, that is a Banaka blast.
Frazier fouls it back this way.
That was coming right at you, Gare.
That's why I got out of the way.
I was ready.
That's why the chair has wheels.
I was ready. I was going to protect
him. The
him.
best part about it is
Your
that
coffee.
It missed my drink by about an inch, because there would have been iced coffee spread all over our booth had it been about an inch higher. Swing and a miss, and Frazier's down on strikes, and Sale has his first strikeout of the afternoon. There's the foul ball. There's our booth.
Look at me.
And there's the drink. It missed marginally.
Look at Gary moving, and look at me going towards the action.
And look at Howie. Howie wants to make sure we're okay. He's saying he was going to reach out and save us.
Yes.
I don't believe that for 1 second. 2 out and nobody on that. Jay Bruce is DHing today. Jay is 2 for 9 in this series. Had a great game on Friday night with a double and a 3-run homer. Bruce, one of 3 Mets who have faced Sale before, along with Frazier and Jackson, and that's drilled into right field, and Bruce has a 2-out hit. So the Mets have their first base runner of the game, a 2-out single. Legends of the game presented by Budweiser, the legendary lager for legendary moments. 521 home runs. Last man to hit 400 in a big league season.
Triple crown twice. Wow. That's a very young photo of him. It's early in his career.
Here's Brandon Nimmo with 2 out and a runner at first. Nimmo 1 for 5 in the series. That one was a 3-run homer in yesterday's game. That accounted for all the Mets scoring. Mets had only 2 hits in yesterday's game against 5 Boston pitchers. So they've already gotten 50% of the way there against one of the best pitchers in the game. Nimmo's home run was his 17th of the year. And that fastball rides inside, 2-0.
That keeps you honest right there. I mean, he's throwing sidearm. He's got long arms. kind of crossfires. The ball runs in on a left-hand hitter, very similar to John Candelaria.
And the slider drops in for a strike, 2-1. Keith has noted a couple of times about Sale's physique and how lanky he is. He's a guy who can eat all day long and not gain an ounce.
I'm jealous. That used to be me when I used to play.
Yeah, but you were never that skinny.
No.
Fastball in for a strike, and it's 2-2.
He reminds me of the same kind of frame, physique. You remember the left-hander for the Braves and the Pirates, Larry McWilliams?
Yeah.
Very similar.
Did McWilliams throw across his body and present as difficult a view as this guy does?
I think worse. He was very unorthodox and herky-jerky, McWilliams.
Bruce runs, the pitch outside, and Bruce is tagged out trying to steal. Well, that came out of nowhere. Jay Bruce trying to steal a base, and Christian Vasquez guns him down to end the inning. 2-6 on the caught stealing. Only Bruce's 4th stolen base attempt of the year, and Vasquez with the good throw. Both puts on the tag. Still no score.
A line drive or a long fly ball streak, which is what I like because I hit extra base hits and home runs when I do that. That after I do that for a while, I'll find myself either popping up again or grounding ball, and it's generally ground balling. And that's the worst thing that can happen to me because I can't get hits in the pulling right field with the ground ball because of the defense, and I'm only getting singles when I do. Unless I hit a ball real sharp, I can't get it through. So consequently, I'm better hitter when I'm hitting the ball in the air.
Ahead of his time, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
The hitting philosophy of today espoused by Ted Williams 60 years ago.
I will add a little caveat to that. He was a power hitter, and they want everybody to do it today. Ted Williams was very rare. Not hardly anybody ever shifted like they did on Williams. Williams was so stubborn. He could have used the left field monster. He refused to. That's what's so incredible about his career.
Steve Pearce strikes out on 3 pitches as DeGrom blows him away, and that's 3 strikeouts in the first 4 batters for DeGrom.
But he also said, here's the pitch right here, upstairs fastball, which we know DeGrom has really perfected. But when Ted said he'd fly ball in the air, he also said fly balls and line drives.
Well, it was Lou Boudreau, the player manager for the Indians, who first decided to put the shift on against Williams, and other teams copied that, and that's what made his ground balls into outs, and now makes everybody's ground balls into outs.
Yep. And it's not for everybody. Not everybody's a Ted Williams. Not everybody's a J.D. Martinez.
Mitch Moreland getting his 2nd start in the series, hitting just 189 since the All-Star break. He would like to get his bat going because they like his defense at first base. And DeGrom misses inside with the fastball, 1-1. Jake now with 242 strikeouts, which is a new career high. He was at 239 starting the day, which is the mark he set for himself last year. And Moreland fouls off the changeup, 1-2. Now, we mentioned the 3 runs or fewer 26 straight starts. He has been in close games almost constantly this entire season. Most batters faced with the game within a run. 9 times he hasn't gotten a win when he's gotten at least 6 and given up no more than 1. That's amazing. A major league record. That's on the outside corner, and he gets Moreland looking. And DeGrom racking up the strikeouts early. That's 4 of the first 5 batters. Well, he said he wanted to pitch at Fenway.
Yes,
he didn't say he didn't want anybody to put a ball in play against him at Fenway.
He's just such a surgeon out there. You can see right to the glove. I mean, he's going to make mistakes in the course of a 9-inning game, but the great pitchers keep them at a minimum. Like maybe you can count them on one hand. You can count them on one hand.
2 out and nobody on now. Ian Kinsler, who's having a good series, 3 hits and 6 at bats in the first 2 games, and he takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, watch the glove. And watch the glove not move. Well, it moved, but if he'd have kept it there, the point would have been, the point's well taken.
And he hits the glove on the inside corner this time, and it's 0-2 to Kinsler. Nine pitches, 8 strikes in this inning. And Kinsler able to make contact and foul it off. DeGrom only had 1 prior start against the Red Sox. That was 3 years ago at Citi Field. It was a start right out of 2018. 6 innings, 10 strikeouts, 2 runs, and he lost 3-1. Joe Kelly was his mound opponent that day. Kelly is now a struggling reliever in the Red Sox bullpen. There is not a single Met who was in the lineup that day who is in the lineup today. 1-2 coming, and a check swing. Did he go? He went around, strike 3, and DeGrom strikes out the side in the second. Quite a start for Jake. 6 up, 6 down with 5 strikeouts. Stay tuned. When the Mets play the Marlins at 7:10 p.m. for Fan Appreciation Weekend. After the game, you can enjoy a fireworks show that lights up the Citi Field sky, presented by Verizon. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Third inning. It's been as advertised so far. DeGrom and Sale, but Sale won't be around much longer. 31 pitches in the first 2 innings. So this may be his last inning in his second start back from the DL. Brandon Nimmo was at the plate when Jay Bruce inexplicably was caught stealing to end the second inning. And Nimmo takes a slider outside for ball 1.
And he's got the luxury of having faced around 6 pitches from Sale. So he's seen them all.
And he lays off the slider, and it's 2-0. Now, we started talking last inning about Sale and the fact that he may not get enough innings to qualify for the ERA title. And my question would be, if he doesn't get the 162 innings necessary, will that prevent some folks from voting for him for the Cy Young? Will it fall into the lap of Blake Snell, who's had a great stretch drive and has pulled almost even with Sale as far as ERA is concerned?
I feel for me, I'm of the older school. I tied him up right there, fastball in. Blake Snell is going to win 20 ball games. Could very well win 20 ball games. And I just think if a pitcher doesn't qualify enough innings pitched, how can he be a Cy Young?
Well, Sale may set a major league record for most strikeouts per 9 innings by a starter. Does that make a difference? Popped up in foul ground. Vasquez coming back to get it, and that's the first out. Well, these are 2 guys who've pitched in the same small college conference in college, the Atlantic Sun Conference. Jacob deGrom at Stetson, Chris Sale at Florida Gulf Coast, and they have 2 of the 3 lowest ERAs among active pitchers. That's pretty impressive.
Oh.
One out and nobody on. Now Kevin Plawecki, 0 for 3 in this series. And a fastball for a strike.
Well, here's the motion from the side. Not much. I mean, it's very compact. He gets such, like Gary, you said it, get torque. Gets all those long arms, and he just.
Well, the way that right foot comes down and he then throws around his body, I would imagine it's so hard to pick that ball up.
It would be very difficult. This is John Candelaria, Larry McWilliams for me. And Candelaria threw bullets.
I mean, this is a guy who the scouts looked at and said, he's an arm problem waiting to happen.
Right.
Plawecki gets one in the air to center field. And Bradley jogs under it. 2 out.
Well, take a look at the feet. Hardly any step. No step back. Step to third base. There's not much to the motion. This all is the sidearm delivery. He's not a drop and drive guy. He's just got such a strong arm, and so he's like Yul Blackwell, the whip.
That's what Ralph Kiner called the toughest pitcher ever faced, Yul Blackwell. Here's Austin Jackson. Jackson's had more looks at Sale than anybody else, but virtually no success. He's 2 for 37 against Chris Sale in his career.
Well, nothing to be ashamed of.
He grounds one down to first. Moreland takes care of that, and that may end Sale's tenure of the game. We'll see if he gets a 4th inning or not. He faces the minimum through 3. Now DeGrom will go back to work. No score in the middle of the 3rd. got 5 of the first 6 hitters.
Well, we talked about the slider right from the get-go. There's a beautiful slider. There's another slider down and into a left-hander. High fastball, elevation, paint, outside corner, knees, and then another slider. He's just, and you notice, folks, that he is using both sides of the plate. So he's just a very accomplished pitcher.
He's not going to lead the league in strikeouts, but he may be a close second behind Scherzer. Jackie Bradley leading off in the 3rd, tries to hold the swing, and they check it at 3rd, and he went around, and it's 0-2. Bradley 1 for 6 in this series. He hit the apparent 3-run homer that got downgraded to a 2-run double yesterday. I think everybody in the ballpark believes that was a home run. The only people who didn't believe that were the replay folks back in Chelsea. Worked out for the Red Sox, though. They wound up scoring 4 in that inning and winning the game. Bradley jumps back, and it's 1-2. Ram has come out throwing strikes today. He's been 0-2 on 4 of the first 7 batters. 1-2 coming, and just off the plate. 2-2.
Tried to get that little backdoor slider there.
Rafael Devers on deck, and then Christian Vasquez for the Red Sox in the 3rd. 2-2 to Bradley, and a check swing foul.
Yep, they're getting
Hector
someone up.
Velasquez up in the bullpen. He was supposed to start on Friday night, but was scratched because he was sick. And now Velasquez up, so maybe the sell is done after 3. And Bradley goes down on strikes. Nasty slider by DeGrom. 6 strikeouts through the first 7 batters.
All right, that's the second backdoor slider he threw. He missed the first one, remember, 2 pitches ago. And he had the look on his face. Okay, what do? I missed outside. I've got to make a little correction there. And there he, 1 pitch, 2 pitches later, paint your wagon.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Rafael Devers, the 3rd baseman, and he tries to hold the swing on the changeup, but he went around. 0-1.
Well, he's all of a sudden now in the 3rd inning, he's showing his changeup. So 2 new weapons he's bringing out.
He hasn't even dropped in a curveball yet. Devers gets ahead of 1 and pulls it foul, and it's 0-2. So that's now 5 of the first 8 batters he's gotten ahead 0-2. Well, Red Sox don't strike out all that much. But DeGrom is off to a big strikeout start. They only struck out 6 times against Syndergaard in 7 innings on Friday. That's lined into center field, and Boston has their first base hit. So Devers behind in the count 0-2. Slams a fastball into center field, and the Red Sox have a 1-out base runner.
Fastball out over the outer half of the plate. Nice at bat by Devers. Look at the stride from DeGrom.
Pitching from 52 feet away. Not as high as Plawecki wanted it. One of the few times DeGrom's missed the glove so far this afternoon. Here's Christian Vasquez batting 9th in the order. Red Sox catcher who was out for a month and a half with a broken finger and a hit-and-run play, and Vasquez finds the hole. And Devers will go 1st to 3rd. And the Red Sox are in business, 1st and 3rd and 1 out with Betts coming up.
And that was a hit and run. First pitch. There to vacate the hole. It's already vacated. You see the runner looking back. See where the ball's caught. Perfect execution.
Vasquez, who came in hitting just .212, asked to play hit and run, does it perfectly, and DeGrom will try and settle back in after giving up base hits to the 8 and 9 hitters. They'll get Betts, who struck out on a questionable call in the 1st inning. This is where Jake has done his best work. Opposing hitters hitting 148 this year against him with runners in scoring position.
Got him with sliders last time, and let's see how he pitches, how he attacks them in this at bat.
And he starts off with a slider and gets a swing and miss.
Beautiful slider. Can't be in a better spot.
Those numbers are phenomenal. The Red Sox, though, counter with the best team in the majors with runners in scoring position. Betts, 311 with runners in scoring position. And a tough man to double up. Fastball off the plate, 1-1.
Wanted that one in, and that missed on the other side of the plate.
Brock Holt hitting second in the order, waiting on deck. Devers at third, Vasquez at first with one out. And Betts drives one to deep center field. Racing back is Jackson. He'll get there on the warning track in the triangle. Devers tags and scores, and the Red Sox have a 1-0 lead. Betts drives in the run with a long sacrifice fly, and the Red Sox tally first.
Well, this is a hanging slider right here. Catcher set up away. Watch it just kind of spun right down the middle. He's lucky. It's a situation as a hitter where you're going up the middle because there's two good pitchers out there. It could be a 1-0 game. You're trying to get the sacrifice fly. You're going up the middle. Boy, if you're 2-0 in a count, that's one you can hit out of the ballpark and pull.
Well, where he hit it would have been out of the ballpark in some places, but 420 feet to that triangle in center field, and he hit it about 406. That's an estimate. Brock Holt struck out his first time up. Vasquez at first with two down. And Holt gets a hold of one deep to right. Nimmo back on the track near the wall. It's out of here. Brock Holt with a 2-run homer, his 5th of the year. And Holt strikes again, and it's 3-0 Boston. Well, Holt did damage as a pinch hitter yesterday, and now strikes for a 2-run homer.
First ball, fastball hitting. Another left-hand hitter likes the ball down. This ball had too much plate.
Only the 10th home run Jacob deGrom has allowed this season. And now Andrew Benintendi follows with a liner toward the middle, but Rosario gets there to snag it, and that retires the side. But the Red Sox, fueled by a hit-and-run play, and then capped by a 2-run homer from their shortstop, Brock Holt. Put a 3-run spot on deGrom in the 3rd. price for $25.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game, plus get a free subscription to MLB At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of this limited time offer. Well, there haven't been too many innings like that for Jacob deGrom this year. Chris Sale's out of the game. He's going to keep throwing in the bullpen. He did that after his last start as well. He went 3 innings, allowed no runs, 1 hit. Hector Velasquez will come on to pitch the 4th for the Red Sox. Velasquez was supposed to start Friday night, was scratched because he was ill. William Cuevas took his place, and now Velasquez feeling better, coming on in long relief. A strike to Rosario, and we check in with Steve.
Gary, you may remember about a month ago I highlighted the fact that Ahmed Rosario changed his 2-strike approach, took out his stride, just picked up the heel and put it down. You asked at the time if he was comfortable doing that. Why not do it every pitch? We'll watch him right here. That 2-strike approach is now his full approach, changed just a couple of days ago. The Mets coaches said to him, your last few home runs have been with 2 strikes. That's the whole reason for the leg kick, was to get that power. Clearly, you have enough power without it. They recommended he switch, and now full time he feels comfortable doing that.
He had a home run here on Friday night, his 9th of the year. And he chops one to short. Nice big hop for Holt, and the low throw dug out by Moreland for the out.
And once again, I've got to point this out. Rosario is just busting down the line on that routine ground ball. Seen that the whole second half of the year. Outstanding. Got the long hop there, Gare.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Jeff McNeil. So Sale threw 42 pitches in his second start back from the DL. He's now thrown 150 innings, which means he needs 12 more the rest of the way to qualify for the ERA title, and the pitches he throws in the bullpen don't count. His ERA goes down to 1.92, which will now leads the American League. He has enough innings to qualify today because this is the Red Sox 149th game, and he has 150 innings. It's an inning per game, but he has to have 162 at the end of the year. And again, I don't know whether that's of any consequence to Alex Cora. I think he's more concerned about having Sale ready to pitch 7 innings once the postseason arrives.
I think that Chris Sale will sacrifice any individual honors to be at his optimum for postseason, particularly after his performance last year.
Well, he certainly looked fine today. He wasn't overpowering. He only struck out 1 in his 3 innings of work. But this is what the Red Sox are trying to do, trying to build him up to be ready to go in October. McNeil hits another one right at the shortstop, and Holt throws him out 2-way. So Velasquez retires the first 2. And now Wilmer Flores with 2 out and nobody on. Wilmer grounded out his first time up. Hector Velasquez, who pitched for 7 years in the Mexican League for the Piratas de Campeche. That's the Pirates.
Okay.
And Wilmer is hit by the pitch, and he's aboard.
Fastball ran in, didn't run in that much.
Just grazed
his elbow.
Yeah. So the Mets have their second base runner of the game, and now Conforto with a man on. Conforto grounded out to short his first time up. Velasquez in his second year with the Red Sox. He's made 7 starts, and this is now his 35th relief outing, so he's been a valued swingman for Boston. And a guy you would think is on the fringe as far as making their postseason roster, but they have so many moving parts when it comes to their bullpen. And Alex Cora has not given anything away about what the composition of their postseason bullpen will look like. 2-1 to Conforto. One thing is for sure is that Craig Kimbrell will be pitching the ninth. Everything before that is up in the air.
Yep. Well, Velasquez has given up a lot of base hits. He's 89 hits and 76 2/3 coming into this appearance. 295 batting average, the opposition. So he's hittable.
Yank foul on the splitter by Velasquez. 2-2. Road ahead brought to you by TriStateBuick.com. Mets are in Philadelphia tomorrow night. Second stop on this final road trip of the year. 3 with the Phillies, who won last night to get within 6.5 of the Braves. Still a long shot, but still alive. And then 4 in Washington before the Mets go home for the final week of the season.
You and Ron will pick up the flag and carry the flag forward in Philadelphia.
That's lined toward the middle, and Conforto's got a base hit. Wilmer stops at second, and the Mets have their second hit of the game. And that'll get Frazier to the plate with 2 out and 2 on.
A lot of off-speed stuff to Michael. Another changeup, just kind of hardly any follow-through. But that's what he's been getting a steady diet of until he can make the adjustment. They're going to keep pouring that off-speed breaking stuff at him, and the changeup. That's a good sign right there. Good at bat.
Now Frazier, who struck out his first time up. We mentioned that Phillies win last night. They beat the Marlins 5-4. Something happened in that game that had never happened before in Major League history. 15 pitchers pitched in the game, and none of them came to bat. That had never happened in a non-DH game. The ball gets away from Vasquez, and the runners move to second and third.
Well,
I mean, think about that. That is September baseball. It is it's absolute nadir.
It's Gabe Kapler baseball.
I mean, well, it's both managers, right?
Yeah.
It's because of all the players available. They go crazy and play the game that way from the second inning on. Gabe Kapler pinch hit for his starting shortstop, Scott Kingery, before he ever got an at bat in the game last night.
I hear you.
I mean, something's got to be done. 2 in scoring position. And Frazier takes a knee-high fastball for a strike. Jay Bruce would be next. Let's try to fashion a 2-out rally. Flores hit by a pitch. Conforto with a base hit. Wild pitch moving the runners up. Frazier 1 for 5 in this series. And he takes a fastball for a strike. 2-2. Two coming. Fouled away. Mets today are playing their final interleague game of the year. The National League actually has an edge over the American League in interleague play this year. They're +6. The American League has won interleague play from the National League 14 consecutive years, and that streak could come to an end. Mets are 8-11 against the American League. Frazier fouls one off his leg. The Red Sox, on the other hand, have dominated interleague play. They're 15-4 against the National League, and they're 36-9 in their last 45 games against the National League.
They've been dominant in division. We talked during the first game, Gary, how they've struggled against the teams they're going to see in postseason.
Seventh pitch of the at-bat coming from Velasquez to Frazier, and he popped it up. Devers into foul ground, has room, and snow cones it, but holds on to retire the side. The ball almost popped right out, despite using two hands.
Yeah, well, it's good he had two hands.
That's leave two. Still 3-0 Boston. Steve Pearce leads off for the Red Sox in the fourth inning. Pearce struck out his first time up, one of 6 strikeouts in the first 3 innings for DeGrom. But the third inning was an unusual one for Jake. Only the second time this year that he's given up more than 2 runs in an inning. He gave up a 4-run inning against Miami back in April, and now a 3-run inning to the Red Sox today.
And that would.
Well, the bottom note is just unfathomable, right? 17 starts, 1.83 ERA, and he's 4-9.
Yep.
I mean, as bad as the season has been from a one-loss perspective, that last 17 starts note is just ridiculous. That's a fail to support him in every conceivable way. Offense, defense, bullpen. 2-2 coming. That's it in the air deep down the left field line toward the pole, and it's a foul ball. Just barely missed. It was not high enough to go out, and it just barely missed staying fair. Got that foul pole projected in front of the green monster, and it just missed. I mean, just missed.
Yeah, around a foot.
So Pearce comes back to the plate, and DeGrom all of a sudden not quite as sharp as he was the first couple of innings when he couldn't miss his target. He just missed full count. 26 runs in 13 starts over that stretch, other than the 4 games he got the win. And somehow that seems like an exaggeration too. Eighth pitch of the at-bat coming from DeGrom to Pearce. And the slider off the plate for ball 4. So DeGrom issues his first walk of the day, and it comes leading off the bottom of the fourth. Celebrate Jacob DeGrom's performance this season with a special 4 for $48 ticket offer in select seating locations for all remaining Mets home games. Tickets are subject to availability. For tickets, visit Mets.com/DeGrom. Now Mitch Moreland, who took a call third strike his first time up. And he attacks a first pitch fastball and fouls it back. Red Sox have their bullpen going again. Drew Pomerantz is up as they try and fill in behind Chris Sale today. Sale went 3 scoreless to stretch his shutout string to 32 straight innings. In fact, if as time was called, and DeGrom very upset that Bill Mueller allowed it. So a deep breath. I don't see that from Jake too often. He's trying to get himself settled back in. Fastball fouled off, and it's 0-2. Check out the Spectrum high-speed pitch. DeGrom and Sale.
Neck and neck.
That's the high rent district. Two guys who grew up in Florida, 2 hours apart. DeGrom in DeLand, and Sale in Lakeland. Two unlikely guys who are at the head of their class in their respective leagues. One a college shortstop, and another guy who was 110 pounds when he was in high school, Sale. Both of whom have made it to the top of the ladder. One and two to Moreland with Pierce at first and nobody out. And Moreland holds up. Stop the swing in time on the changeup. 2-2. There's Drew Pomerantz, who got into the opening game of this series. Another guy who's trying to secure a postseason slot. And Cora's going to look at all of them over these last couple of weeks. And that one's in there for a call strike 3. Got him with the backdoor slider. And DeGrom has his 7th strikeout of the day.
And he made, I'll say one thing, Moreland made DeGrom work for this strikeout. Let's see if he painted his wagon maybe low. Nope, he got it. Borderline knees.
Well, that's the thing about these Red Sox. They grind out at bats. And while Jake was ahead in the count on all of them early and piled up a bunch of strikeouts, they have put some quality at bats against him the second time in the order. Here's Kinsler, who struck out his first time up. And Kinsler pops one foul. The Red Sox, by far the most powerful offense in baseball. Maybe powerful is the wrong word. They're not top home run hitting team, but they're the top on base percentage team, top slugging percentage team, and best batting average team. And the consequence of that is the highest scoring team.
Well, they lead the league in doubles. They are third in, I believe, third or in triples. Their slugging percentage is #1, Gare. So everybody hears slugging percentage and they think in terms of home runs. It's not. It's extra base hits go a long way too.
Yep. You see their major league ranks, just 10th in home runs, but first in all those other important categories. But 188 home runs, that's a substantial number, including the 41 that J.D. Martinez has contributed, second in the American League. And Kinsler with a big cut goes down swinging for the second time. 8 strikeouts now for DeGrom and 2 out in the inning.
Just blew the fastball by him a little above the belt, outside corner.
So 2 out, Pierce still at first, and now Jackie Bradley, who struck out his first time. Boston beginning the day with a magic number of 4 for clinching the American League East after the Yankees lost last night. And the Red Sox will go from here to Yankee Stadium, where they will have a chance to clinch the division in the place that they probably most like to clinch the division, other than doing it here at home.
Right. I think they would prefer it here, but their arch rival.
Their arch rival, who's going to have to go through the wild card game, just trying to hang on to home field for that wild card. They got fortunate because the A's were beat last night. Jerry's Familia gave up a 3-run homer to Jake Bowers in the 8th, and Tampa Bay beat Oakland and kept the Yankees a game and a half ahead of the A's despite their loss. With the second home run Familia's allowed since he went to the A's. And DeGrom gets it in for a strike, and it's 2-1. So it would appear as though those 2 teams are home free. Question is, who gets to host that single elimination game?
They got something to play for. I like that.
2-1 to Bradley, and he pops one up into shallow center. Jackson coming on, and that retires the side. So a leadoff walk, but DeGrom negotiates that. 8 strikeouts for Jake through 4, but he's down 3-0. When we come to Boston, we often forget about the great second baseman Bobby Doerr, who played with Williams.
Lifetime .288 hitter, hit 300 3 times in his career. Lost 1 year of ball, Major League ball, 1945 because of World War II. I had the pleasure of meeting him, and just a wonderful man. Just recently, passed away last year at 99.
He was the oldest living Hall of Famer at 99 years old before he passed away. Statue of the 4 teammates: Ted Williams, Bobby Doerr, Johnny Pesky, Dom DiMaggio. Jay Bruce leading off for the Mets in the 5th inning. Facing Drew Pomeranz, who makes his 2nd appearance in the series. Pomeranz worked on Friday night, an inning and a third, no runs, 1 hit. Looked a lot better than his recent performances.
Bobby Doerr had 6 years of his 14 years in the big leagues driving in over 100 runs.
9-time All-Star, and as Ted Williams said, he was the captain without portfolio.
Very nice. All wonderful quotes.
One of the few who played the game hard and retired with no enemies. That's Tommy Henrik, the great Yankee, old reliable, had to say about Bobby Doerr. And there's his retired #1.
Broke into the big leagues in 1937. 2 years ahead of Ted Williams.
Bruce with a good cut, fouls one back, 2-2. Slider off the plate, full count. Brandon Nimmo on deck, then Kevin Plawecki for the Mets in the 5th, trying to generate some offense against the Red Sox bullpen after being held in check for 3 innings by Chris Sale. They threatened in the 4th against Hector Velasquez, but left 2 in scoring position. Now facing Pomeranz in the 5th. And Bruce hacks one into right field, but there's Betts to grab it. 1 out.
Jays had 2 good at-bats against left-handers today. Impressed.
He was very self-deprecating the other night after he hit the home run and drove in 4 runs. He said, yeah, great, I've got 8 home runs. But, you know, he's looked like a different hitter since he's come back from the DL, and I think that's the most important thing for Bruce, that he appears to be back to where he's supposed to be, and you didn't see a lot of that for most of the season. Brandon Nimmo fouled out to the catcher his first time up. And a half swing, he went around, and Pomeranz gets ahead 0-2. Drew Pomeranz last year a 17-game winner as a starter for the Red Sox, but he has had a really rough year. ERA over 6. He's made 11 starts. This is now his 11th relief appearance. He's been kind of a mercurial guy. He's had good years and bad years. Started out with the Rockies, then the A's, went to San Diego before landing here in Boston. Curveball off the plate, 2-2. Nimmo with 3 of his 17 home runs against left-handers this year. And he takes that one up and away, and he runs the count full. So he gets the count from 0-2 to 3-2. Brandon starting the day with the 4th best on-base percentage in the National League. And he drives that one down the right field line. Foul.
Oh,
just
boy.
Outside the pesky pole.
Almost had it.
It's only 302 feet away before that right field fence ducks away. But if you can keep it straight down the line, it's an easy poke to the pesky pole.
Tim Tuffle did it in game 5, I believe, the game we lost in '86 to the Red Sox.
Pesky pole, named for Johnny Pesky, light-handed infielder who had a habit of wrapping one around that pole. That's looped into right center field, and over comes Betts to get it, and that's the 2nd out. So Nimmo retired. 2 out and nobody on. Now Plawecki, who flied out to center field his first time up. Let's look at today's Verizon trivia question. Who were the only 3 pitchers with 100 or more saves with the Red Sox? Big hop at short, grabbed by Holt, and the overhand throw, and Pomerantz has a 1-2-3 top of the 5th. Halfway through at Fenway, 3-0 Boston. His best friend scouts social media to draft a perfect date. Don't miss an episode of Prospects, presented by Bowlmore Lanes, tonight at 6 o'clock, right here on SNY. Home 5th inning, Rafael Devers leads off for the Red Sox. He got Boston started in the 3rd inning with a base hit against DeGrom, and he grounds this one foul. Devers had a single to center on an 0-2 pitch. Christian Vasquez followed with a hit and run single. Mookie Betts drove in a run with a long sac fly, and Brock Holt hit a 2-run homer. Put up the 2nd biggest inning against DeGrom this season. Devers skips away. Ball and a strike. So DeGrom has to be impeccable from here on to keep that streak of starts going with 3 runs or fewer. It's now at 26. All-time major league record. And Devers flies one out to left. Conforto shading his eyes as he goes, and stays with it on the warning track for the first out. Devers retired, 1 away, and now the number 9 hitter Christian Vasquez. Vasquez had that hit and run single that fueled the Red Sox in the 3rd. Vasquez was on the disabled list for about a month and a half with a broken finger, and getting the start today with Sale, which is a rarity. Normally Sandy Leon catches Sale, but Alex Cora is trying to figure out his catching situation for the postseason. Mostly he's trying to figure out who's going to hit, because Leon hasn't hit, Vasquez doesn't hit. He's got Blake Swihart as well, who's more of a utility guy, but he's the 3rd catcher. And a fastball strike to Vasquez, 1-1. Funny thing about both Leon and Vasquez is they both have hit in the past. Leon hit over 300 a couple of years ago. Vasquez hit 290 last year. And DeGrom fools him with the slider, and he went around 1-2.
They find a weakness. You got one, they'll find it.
Mookie Betts waits on deck. DeGrom's 1-2, and Vasquez fouls it off. Well, that's coming into the day. DeGrom at 1.71. It's gone up to 1.81 at this particular moment, but still far ahead of the field in the National League. Nets will face Aaron Nola in the series in Philadelphia on Tuesday, so they can do some of DeGrom's work for him. 1-2 coming, and that's off the plate. 2-2. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out, are they going to face Scherzer in Washington? Odds are they will. It's a four-game series.
Four-game set. It would be. I'm sure they will.
Scherzer pitched Friday. Now, Mets might miss him. If he goes Wednesday, then they would miss Scherzer in the four-game series in D.C. Vasquez takes strike three called, and he knew it. Fastball on the corner, and that is number 9 for DeGrom. 2 out and nobody on in the 5th. Mets open the series in Philadelphia tomorrow night with Zach Wheeler on the mound against Jake Arrieta, another terrific pitcher matchup. 6:30 the coverage tomorrow on SNY. They're the City Problems for the series. Mats against Nola Tuesday, and then Noah Syndergaard and Zach Evelyn hook up on Wednesday night. DeGrom starts his 3rd time around the batting order, and he bounces the curveball to Betts. Is that the first curveball he's thrown all day?
I think you're right. The slider's been so good.
He'll often save that curveball for the 2nd or 3rd time around. Betts hit a sacrifice fly to drive in the first run of this game. And he takes a fastball for a strike, 1-1.
Good up and in fastball.
9 strikeouts for Jake today. He's had 9 games this year of 10 or more. And he gets ahead on Betts, 1-2.
2 straight up and in strikes with a fastball. Good pitches.
Well, he struck him out on a slider just off the plate his first time up. He certainly has him set up for that now. And he goes right back to the fastball to strike out Betts for the 2nd time. 10 strikeouts in 5 innings for DeGrom, his 10th double-digit strikeout game of the year. Dolphins game. Join Jonas Schwartz, Ray Lucas, Willie Colon, Bart Scott, and Janae Coakley for a complete game breakdown, player reactions, and Todd Bowles' post-game comments on Jets Post-Game Live, presented by Toyota today after the Jets-Dolphins game, only on SNY. Sixth inning, Mets down 3-0. Drew Pomeranz starts his second inning of relief. Austin Jackson leads off. He grounded out his first time up, and he drives one into center field, and Bradley off the plate on a hop. And Jackson has a leadoff hit. Just his fifth hit in his last 42 at bats. We check in with the studio. Gary Apple has a game break brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Gary? Meanwhile, the Phillies are up early on the Marlins, so Phillies still holding out hope. 6.5 games behind. That one trickles away from Vasquez, but no advance, as Rosario took ball one. The magic number for the Braves is 9, so the Phillies have a huge uphill battle there. But they've got a 1-0 lead on the Marlins in the fourth, with the Braves trailing the Nats, as Gary told you, so hope still exists. Rosario swinging over the curveball, and it's 1-1. Ahmed is flied out and grounded out 0 for 2. He's 2 for 11 in this series. Jeff McNeil waits on deck. That's with just 3 hits on the afternoon. They had just 2 all day yesterday. And he fouls that one off his leg, 1-2. Rosario for most of the year has been the Mets' best hitter for average against left-hand pitchers. He came into the day hitting .280 against lefties. Only Jeff McNeil has done better, and of course McNeil's only been here for a relatively short time. Jackson at first with nobody out, and Rosario yanks one foul on a curveball. Chris Sale worked the first 3 innings today. No runs, 1 hit. Lowered his ERA to 1.92. Hector Velasquez worked a scoreless inning. Pomeranz did the same, and now pitching his second inning. Red Sox have further action up in their bullpen now. They've got a lefty and a righty. Robbie Scott, the lefty, and Heath Hembry, the right-hander, up. So it's going to be one of those days. You're going to see a lot of relief pitchers.
Yep. You're going to get it in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's for sure. 1-2 coming. Up and away, 2-2. You know, I mentioned it briefly before, and I wanted to go into this with you a little more because you're not going to be in Philly. So yesterday, the Marlins started a lefty against the Phillies, and Don Mattingly made a pitching change in the second inning. And Gabe Kapler batted for his rookie shortstop, Scott Kingery, before he ever had a turn at bat. Batted for him in the second inning. Now, let's take it on faith that he believes that to be the proper strategic move. How do you think that impacts a young player's psyche?
Well, I've always said that analytics are sterile, and there's other things involved. I mean, Kingery's not having a great year, but boy, you don't have any faith in me, Skip. You're taking me out before I even get him at bat. I mean, it reminds me when Frank Howard back in '84 pinch hit for Jose Oquendo, who was 19 at the time.
Similar circumstance.
Second inning or first inning?
First inning. That's driven to deep left field, headed toward the Green Monster, and it's off the wall. Jackson racing for third. He's going to be held up there. Rosario pulls in at second with a double. He hit it about 30 feet up on that 37-foot wall. Home run anywhere else, 2-base hit here. 25th double of the year for Rosario.
Well, one thing when you're a base runner here and a ball's hit hard, Rosario thought he had a home run. He's not used to the monster here being so high, but you can run because the wall is right there. It's close. It's not deep. And Jackson's played enough games here.
Taking no chances, down by 3 runs with nobody out. Probably could have scored, but
yes,
Glenn Sherlock went safety first there. Dana Levangie, the Red Sox pitching coach, has been out to talk to Pomerantz before he faces Jeff McNeil. So the Mets with their best scoring threat of the day, second and third and nobody out. You were talking about Frank Howard batting for Oquendo in the first inning.
With Rusty, and Oquendo was in tears in the clubhouse. I mean, it's devastating. You've got to show faith in your athletes. And, you know, Kapler is one of those guys that's wed to analytics. His general manager is. That's why he was hired.
Here's McNeil, when he lines one into right, coming on his Betts. He'll make the catch, and Jackson will stay put. Betts has a strong arm, and Jackson taking no chances, and McNeil retired for the first out. Well, to his credit, Kapler did go to Kingery in the clubhouse after the game and explained to him what his reasoning was, but you wonder about the long-term impacts of stuff like that.
Either way you slice it, I'm looking at it, if it's me, I'm a young kid, that's not good for me. It's not good for my psyche. It's like, you can give me all the X's and O's and the numbers and the multiples and division and adds, but you don't have faith in me to get up and hit the first at bat.
One out in the inning. Infield stays back with Wilmer Flores at the plate. He's grounded out and been hit by a pitch. And Pomerantz sells one outside. I mean, we saw Kapler in New York last week with a 2-1 lead in the second inning.
Yep.
Take Justin Bour out of the game to put a defensive platoon in.
Yes, he did. And then the Mets had a 4-run fifth inning. And the next thing they know, their 1-run lead evaporated. They were behind 5-2, if I recall.
Right.
And they had one of their big boppers out of the lineup.
It's almost like you're playing baseball like it's football, where there's free substitution and you're trying to adjust your team for down and distance, but you know you can't unmake those moves in baseball.
Well, I just think there's just a lot of good things in the game today and a lot of craziness.
Vasquez blocks a potential wild pitch, and it's 2-1 to Flores. I think that stuff will shake itself out over time. You know, when the game gets pushed too far over the edge, the pendulum tends to swing back.
Yes.
Jackson at third, Rosario at second with 1 out. And Wilmer takes one the other way, and Betts is there again. Jackson tagging, and again he's going to try and score this time. The throw comes into Vasquez. He misses the tag, and Jackson scores. Jackson had to scramble back to tag. I thought he wasn't going to try it, but this time he challenged Betts, and he just gets in on the sacrifice fly by Flores to get the Mets on the board. It's 3-1.
And in this play right here, Betts had a better angle before the play before. He's coming straight in. I think he just took it for granted, Gary, that he wasn't going to be challenged and got surprised. He didn't put enough on the throw.
Umpires are waiting to see if the Red Sox are going to challenge this. Bill Miller said that Vasquez missed the tag, but the Red Sox are going to challenge the call. Did he get him in? Didn't look from that angle like he did.
I think he missed him.
So Jackson had to scramble back and decided to give it a try. And the previous angle that we saw made it appear as though Vasquez did not make contact with Jackson. And Austin would know better than anybody whether indeed he got swiped. But they'll leave it to the replay officials in Chelsea. Jerry Lane and Mike Winters have their crews there. So let's take a look at this. Any space between the glove and
I think he missed him.
He didn't tag him. There's no way they're overturning that.
Can I ask you a question? When the umpires put the headphones on, and there's the play again, and I think he did miss him. Bill Miller is the crew chief, of course. He has, and he's made the call.
Right.
Why has Angel Hernandez got the
I think it's
phone
just backup, just in case one of the headsets goes bad. It's fail safe. You know, you can't have a malfunctioning system, so you have to have a backup.
By the way, Failsafe was a heck of a movie back in the early 60s.
It's a great
black and white. Safe.
And they do confirm the call, so it's a sacrifice fly for Flores, and the Mets have their first run.
If you're wondering why Rosario is on second base, Betts did not overthrow the cutoff man.
And now there's some concern, I think, about Mookie Betts, who's been kind of manipulating his body from side to side.
He didn't have much on that throw, Gary. I mentioned it. I wonder if he hurt his arm.
And so Alex Cora coming out to join the trainer to see whether Betts is okay, and looks like he might be coming out. He was kind of bending to the side like he had some kind of oblique or something like that.
Fits an oblique. Oh my gosh!
And it's the last thing in the world that the Red Sox need is any kind of injury to Mookie Betts, who is one of their 2 MVP candidates.
So if he if he injured himself, and we're speculating in the middle of the throw, obviously, that's probably why he didn't have much on the throw.
Two-way Lin is going to come into the game and go into the outfield. So Betts is out. Hands over his defensive card. See that?
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Got to make sure that that the defensive card is in the right hands, and now they're going to hand the defensive card to Two-way Lin.
And Lin's going to go out to center field. I just can't get over that.
So they're going to move Bradley over to right field and play Lin in center. And we'll get a report on Betts if we can. So now Michael Conforto steps in with Rosario at second and 2 out. Michael singled to center his last time up, 1 for 2 on the day, and that goes to the backstop, and over to third goes Rosario, and Vasquez has to scramble over to get it before Rosario can think about trying to score. That one just sailed right over the mid of Vasquez. Don't know if he got crossed up or he just didn't catch it. We're going to call it a pass ball.
Was it a cross-up?
I don't know. He ducked his head as though maybe he was expecting something else, but he also didn't go out to the mound. Of course, now they're with the runner at third. They don't need multiple signs. And Conforto takes a breaking ball for a strike, and it's 1-1. Jackson singled. Rosario doubled high off the wall, and a sac fly brought in a run. Now Rosario on third after the pass ball. And Conforto gets under one, deep to center. Back goes Lin onto the warning track in the triangle, and he dropped the ball. Rosario scores. Conforto will have to stop at second, and the Mets get within a run. It's now 3-2. Lin just into the game to replace Betts. Had his glove on the ball some 415 feet away, but he just couldn't make it stick. It'll be a double for Conforto, and it's now 3-2 Boston.
Boy, you move your center fielder over to right field, and look what happens. He almost made a heck of a catch here. It's a long way. He ran for the ball. He got there. He just missed it. Off the heel of his glove? Yes.
So the Mets have cashed 2 runs here in the 6th to get within a run. Red Sox will make a pitching change and bring Heath Hembree into the game to get a right-hander in against Frazier. 3-2 Boston. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Wei Lin shading his eyes, checking his defensive charts. Just had a double go off his glove. And now Heath Hembree comes out of the Boston bullpen to face Todd Frazier with the tying run at second and 2 out. And the fastball misses high, ball 1.
Heath Hembree, 62nd game here. Look at his splits there. Real difficult for left-hand hitters. And he's here to put the fire out here.
Frazier has struck out and fouled out. 0 for 2 today, 1 for 7 in the series. That's with 2 runs home against Drew Pomeranz here in the 6th, and now looking to get it even with Conforto at second and 2 out. Shadows just now becoming an issue. Covering home plate, got the flag
waving
right in front of the plate. That's going to be difficult.
I wouldn't like that. It's coming our way. Howie.
Just under Howie's board. Yeah, the shadow of the flag. I mean, oh, those guys, they're not going to catch anything. Come on. There are no gold gloves in that booth.
Wayne's dreaming.
And we're better dressed than they are, too. 1-1 to Frazier. So tell me about the shadow of the flag
I would not
right
like
in front
it.
of the plate. That's got to be just brutal.
You would have to really focus. It's not going to have any effect on the ball. So your focus, as usual, I think it's not going to have any issue. Your focus is where the pitcher releases the ball. You're looking above that shadow. I think you're able to.
But just the way it's moving, it's got to be a distraction, right?
Yep. Well, you got to just
They should do something about that. There shouldn't be a flag there to project a shadow like that. You should move it over. That's crazy.
It is. But I'm sure you can tune it out. I guarantee you.
You must have great powers of concentration. What if you're facing a lefty? That thing just to the right of the plate like that. That would be harder, right?
You're still looking above. You just have to. I'd have to get in there. I've never had that. I've never seen anything like that before.
Breaking ball bounced foul. '29-year-old Heath Hembree, South Carolina native. Frazier has faced him before. He's 0 for 3 against Hembree. He takes his time.
Yes, he does.
He had Sale out there pitching at the start of this game who couldn't pitch fast enough. Frazier pops one foul. This might be coming back our way. It's so exciting to have the possibility of foul balls coming in the booth.
It is.
We've had half a dozen of them in this series.
I mean, we can go up in our booth in New York at Citi Field and blindfold ourselves and not worry.
Might have trouble seeing the game, but I understand your point. 10 years there, we haven't had a sniff of a foul ball.
No.
Here, we're here for 3 days, and there have been a half dozen close calls. Seventh pitch of the at bat coming from Hembree to Frazier. And it's up and in. Full count. Jay Bruce would be next. And they've got a left-hander ready for him in the bullpen. Robbie Scott, who had a dreadful time here on Friday, is up getting ready for Bruce if his turn should come up. Three-two on the way. Bounce down to third. Devers charging. Double clutches, but gets him by a half a stride to end the inning. Mets put 2 on the board in the top of the 6th. Was it that close? Well, maybe it was. Mets might challenge that. No, they decide not to. Sorry, Todd. You were out. 3-2 Red Sox in the 6th. Home 6th inning. Jacob deGrom just threw his 80th pitch, facing Brock Holt, who put a dent in his day with a 2-run homer. As the Red Sox scored 3 runs in the 3rd against deGrom, the 2nd biggest inning against Jake this year. He hasn't allowed another hit since. Holt's home run was his 5th of the year, a 2-run shot into the bullpen. And here it is.
First pitch fastball, jumped on it. Out over the plate and down.
Jake picks off the corner with a changeup, and it's 2-2. Andrew Benintendi on deck, and then Steve Pearce for the Red Sox in the 6th. After the Mets got deGrom a little closer in the top of the inning. And he gets Holt looking on a slider for his 11th strikeout of the afternoon. 1 out.
Oh boy, looking for something else. Got the fastball, and we got the DH here, so we don't have. Jake doesn't have to worry about being pinch hit for.
Just has to worry about his pitch count, which is at 84 right now. Very reasonable in the 6th inning. Here's Benintendi, who lined out to short his last time up, 0 for 2 on the day. deGrom misses with a changeup for ball 1.
He hasn't had that changeup today. It's been a pitch that he hasn't. And you know what? He's recognized it. And he's hardly thrown it. I bet you he hasn't thrown it, but in single digits. Not 10 times, that's for sure.
Fly ball left field over toward the corner goes Conforto, and he gets there for the 2nd out. So Benintendi retired, and that's 8 in a row set down by deGrom. 2 out and nobody on for Steve Pearce. Pearce has struck out and walked today. The only walk deGrom has allowed. Jake with 11 strikeouts today. 10th time this year he's had 10 or more, and the 31st time in his career. Now has 250 strikeouts for the season. That's a nice milestone. First time he's reached that plateau.
That's a lot. Wow. It's going to be a nice Strato card.
Pearce flies one out to left. Conforto back, looking up at the wall, and it's off the fence. Pearce trying for 2, and he's in standing with a double. Well, Conforto getting his first experience playing that wall and figuring out when you can go back to try and catch a ball, when you have to turn and play it off the wall.
That wall is inviting, is it not?
Tried to barehand it, in which case he might have had a chance to keep Pierce at first base, but couldn't handle it cleanly, and so Pierce winds up with a double. A fourth hit against DeGrom today, and Mitch Moreland stands in. He's been struck out twice and takes a first pitch curveball for a strike.
When you play here enough, you know he's busting.
Yeah, he knew that ball was probably going to hit the wall, and he'd have to hustle to get to second. Plawecki out for a visit. So DeGrom with 250 strikeouts. It's the 6th time in Mets history that a Met pitcher's reached 250 strikeouts. Seaver did it 3 times with a high of 289. Gooden did it twice with a high of 276 in his rookie year. And now DeGrom, only the 3rd Met pitcher to reach 250 strikeouts.
Well, that's in an organization steeped in pitching. Congratulations. That's something to put on your mantle. Be proud of.
Inside to Moreland, a ball and a strike. It's amazing when you think about it that Gooden had more strikeouts in '84 than he did in '85.
That's the year was it Herb Scorer's record?
He broke the rookie strikeout record, but he had 268 in his great year in '85. Hit on the ground into the shift, and there's Rosario playing on the right side to throw out Moreland, and that retires the side. A double and 1 left. We go to the 7th with the Mets down a run. Seventh inning, Mets down by a run. Jay Bruce leads off against Heath Hembry, who came in to get the final out in the 6th. Bruce has hit the ball hard twice today, a single and a line drive to right, and he fouls back the first offering from Hembry. Bruce, Nimmo, and Plawecki for the Mets. Joe Kelly, right-hander, is up in the Red Sox bullpen. Hembry, the 4th Boston pitcher of the day after Chris Sale had an abbreviated start, his 2nd off the DL. He went 3 innings. Mets couldn't do anything against Sale or Hector Velasquez for the first 4, but Drew Pomeranz gave up 2 runs and 3 hits over an inning and 2/3. That's getting RBIs from Flores and Conforto with 2 out in the 6th to get on the board. And now trying to get DeGrom at least back even. Bruce with a hack at a slider, and it's 1-2. Full shift on against Bruce. Those shadows now making their way out toward the mound. And it's in tight with a fastball, 2-2.
Not far enough out yet to be a negative for the hitter.
How far do they have to be?
Halfway out. Halfway, 3/4, Gary. It is not good.
That time is coming.
Yes.
Bruce got a piece and stayed alive. Keith Embry part of that mix for Alex Cora, trying to figure out what his bullpen composition is going to look like in October. They're waiting for Matt Barnes to get back from the DL. He could be a big piece. He's been out with a hip problem. Haven't seen him in this series. 3-2 now to Bruce. But who's going to be the setup guy for Craig Kimbrell? I don't think they have any idea right now.
I think Houston has a more stable pitching staff.
Three and 2 to Bruce, and Jay takes ball 4. 3-2 slider, and the Mets have the tying run aboard. We check in with the studio. Gary Apple, he is standing by with another game break. Yeah, O'Brien's second home run. His first one came off the Mets last week, and it's a kid with a lot of power who's never been able to stick at the big league level, but starting to hit some home runs for the Marlins down the stretch of the season. Here's Nimmo, who's fouled out and flied out 0 for 2. Devers will come in on the grass against Brandon with the tying run at first, and he takes up and away from Hembry for ball 1. So the Mets with an opportunity here in the 6th. In the 7th, after scoring 2 in the 6th, they get the leadoff man on in the 7th. As Joe Kelly, who has really struggled lately, continues to work in the Boston bullpen. The Mets in their last 12 series have won 9, lost 1, and split 2 series, trying to win the rubber game today. And a curveball in for a strike, 1-1 to Nimmo. Mets fans trying to get some enthusiasm going. There have been a lot of Met fans here all weekend. I've been shocked at how many Met fans have found their way into Fenway.
They've all been around the hotel, which is walking distance. And it's a nice area. Fun. Met fans walking everywhere.
But I mean, it's such a tough ticket here in Boston. They must have made their plans long ago, or taken advantage of the secondary market or something, because there have been a plethora of Met fans on hand all weekend. And that one hits Nimmo, and the Mets have 2 men on. 21st time this year Nimmo's been hit, the 3rd time in this series, and the Mets have something working here in the 7th. This time it got him in the back leg. He got hit on the front knee and the front thigh. Now he gets it on the back shin. Pitching change for the Red Sox. Mets threatening in the 7th, down a run. Joe Kelly coming in. The veteran hard thrower Joe Kelly comes in to pitch for the Red Sox. He's given up runs in 3 of his last 5 outings, and he comes in here with first and second and nobody out. Mets down by a run, and the Red Sox looking for the bunt from Kevin Plawecki. And Plawecki fouls off the bunt attempt, 0-1. Kevin has flied out and grounded out today, 0 for 2. Takes a long look down at Glenn Sherlock to see if the bunt's still on.
It's going to be still on. Get him over. Got a pitcher out there that's had a tough luck. Put those 2 men in scoring position.
Austin Jackson, the number 9 hitter, on deck. And he's ready to swing, but he comes up empty on a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's 0-2. That's the thing about Kelly. He might struggle, but he throws the lights out. Former St. Louis Cardinal, came over in the trade for John Lackey at the trading deadline in 2014, and he has had some good times for the Red Sox, just not recently. Ahead on Plawecki, 0-2. And Kevin just got a piece. Jackson on deck, had a base hit his last time up. Mets have been held to 5 hits today. They had 3 of them in the 6th inning. They put 2 aboard with a walk and a hit by pitch here in the 7th. And Kelly strikes out Plawecki for the first out. Nothing but gas.
High target, right to the glove.
So 1 out, and now Jackson, who had a base hit to center field and scored a run in the 6th inning. Jackson takes a fastball for a strike. Gotten word on Mookie Betts. Remember, he left the game after making that throw home. They're calling it left side soreness. We could have told them that.
And hopefully it's not an oblique.
So
we want to see these teams that are going into postseason at full strength.
Jackson flies one out to right, and Bradley comes toward the line to get it, and the runners have to hold. 2 out. So Kelly's come on and got a couple of key outs, and now it's left to Ahmed Rosario with 2 out and 2 on. Well, I would suspect with Betts, if it had been a postseason game, he probably would have stayed in. But right now, the most important thing is to take full precaution to make sure he's healthy when the postseason games arrive. Red Sox are free and clear with a 10.5 game lead, a magic number of 4 with 2 weeks to go. Here's Rosario, who doubled off the Green Monster and scored a run in the 6th. And he drives that one toward the middle, a base hit. Bruce around third, heading home. Here comes the throw by Lynn to the plate. It's up the line. It hits the runner. Bruce scores. Nimmo goes to third, and the Mets have tied the game at 3. Ahmed Rosario, with his 2nd hit of the day, drives in the tying run.
Well, he didn't waste any time. Very clutch. Jumps right on it. Didn't get it high enough here. Oh, boy, look at that level swing. Right down the pipe. Bullet.
Lynn's throw winds up hitting Bruce, and as a consequence, they'll charge an error to Lynn, allowing Nimmo to get to third base.
2 outs. Bruce is busting. And Nimmo always alert. Don't take anything for granted. Look at that. That is very nice.
So now with the go-ahead run at third, here's Jeff McNeil, who's gone 0 for 3 today. McNeil is grounded out twice and flied out. Nimmo with third, Rosario at first. Mets were down 3-0. They've gotten DeGrom even.
Well, the big surprise right there. I don't think I've ever been hit trying to score on a throw from home. From the outfield, I should say.
And McNeil takes the breaking ball outside for ball one.
Bradley playing a pretty shallow right field, Garrett, you think? A little shallow?
Maybe a little more shallow than he should with McNeil's power. But he's got a great ability to go back on the ball. Still don't understand why they moved him to right.
I don't either. McNeil can get himself down the right field line. It's going to score 2 with Rosario on first.
Hitting in the shadow with Kelly pitching out of the sunshine. Certainly didn't seem to bother Rosario, who jumped on a first pitch and rifled it up the middle. Kelly has started McNeil off with a couple of sliders and fallen behind 2-0. Wilmer Flores would be next. And run is charged to Heath Hembry, who's also responsible for Nimmo at third base. And McNeil goes after an off-speed pitch, and it's 2-1.
2-0 changeup. How often do we see that in today's game?
Well, you don't think of Kelly as being that guy, though. He is such a power-first pitcher. But he hasn't thrown a fastball yet to McNeil. Nimmo at third. Rosario at first with 2 down. Ahmed has yet to attempt a stolen base in this series, 18 for the year. They're not playing the overshift against McNeil with the hard throwing Kelly on the mound. Still tilted toward the right. But for much of this series, they've had the shortstop playing on the right side of second base. Not this time.
They got Kinsler at second base playing. That's for the pull right there a little bit. Ground ball to the left of the shortstop. He's going to have a hard time getting over to second base.
2-1 to McNeil. And it's upstairs again. He threw him an off-speed pitch, and it's 3-1. I mean, have they decided that they can't throw McNeil fastballs? I mean, for a while they were throwing fastballs inside against him, and that appeared to be the MO to try and get him out. Now it's 3-1, and he threw him a changeup. So he's thrown nothing but sliders and changeups to get the count to 3-2.
I think it's not so much McNeil, Gary. I think it's what you've been saying all year, is that they want these guys to throw more breaking balls, more secondary pitches. And I've seen it all year long, 3-1, 2-0.
So now Rosario will be on the move. Moreland will play behind him at first. Three-two coming. Line toward the middle. There's Holtz playing behind the bag, and he throws out the diving McNeil to end the inning. Silly play by McNeil, leaving his feet. He was going to be out anyway. So they had the defense arrayed perfectly, and Holt throws out McNeil. The Mets get it tied, though. It's 3-3 in the seventh. League Baseball pennant races. And we'll have all the football action as well coming up. Geico Sports Night tonight and every night, 11 o'clock, right here on SNY. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, we continue to highlight unique aspects of Fenway Park here, and I know people have seen the Green Monster thousands of times, but take a look at two distinct stripes under the American League scores. There is Morse code written in two of them, and they are actually the initials of Tom Yawkey and Gene Yawkey, the former owners of the Red Sox franchise. What's really interesting, though, is that the Red Sox say they have no plans to remove the Morse code with the initials, and why that's interesting is, remember, earlier this year they changed the name of Yawkey Way to Jersey Street because John Henry, the current owner, said he was haunted by the racist past of the franchise under Tom Yawkey, but they are going to keep that. At least that's the plan right now in the Green Monster.
Thank you, Steve. Here is the Morse code running down in between the scores on the American League scoreboard. Jacob deGrom takes the mound for the bottom of the 7th, back even in this game. He's at 90 pitches through 6. Gave up 3 runs in the 3rd inning, but he's held the Red Sox down since. The Mets rallying for 2 in the 6th and 1 in the 7th to get even. One of the numbers came loose, and the scoreboard operator hard at work. Just more heavy lifting. Ian Kinsler will lead off for the Red Sox in the home 7th. Kinsler's been up twice, struck out both times. 2 of the 11 strikeouts for deGrom this afternoon. And Kinsler takes first pitch slider for a strike. Jackie Bradley on deck, and then Rafael Devers in the bottom of the 7th. Misses low and away, a ball and a strike. Jake has walked 1, struck out 11, allowed 3 runs and 4 hits. Seth Lugo ready in the bullpen if needed. Bounce foul. 1-2 to Kinsler. You see the pitch count. Oddly enough, that 3rd inning when he faced 6 batters and gave up all 3 runs was not his highest pitch count inning. 1-2 coming, and Kinsler pops one foul that'll come out of play. deGrom's ERA at the moment is 1.79, up from 1.71 when the day began. Still far and away the best in the National League. Sale, with his 3 scoreless innings today, lowered his to 1.92, the best in the American League. 1-2 coming, and the breaking ball in the dirt, 2-2. The last time that 2 pitchers faced each other in September with ERAs under 2, it was Dwight Gooden and John Tudor in 1985 at Shea Stadium, and neither one allowed a run in that game.
Tudor went 10.
Yep. Gooden went 9, and Jesse Orosco gave up the game-winning homer to Cesar Cedeno.
Yeah, that was another pickup by Whitey Herzog. Cedeno had a great September for him, you recall.
Nimmo makes the grab for the first out, and now a quick message from City.
Think fast. What?
So 1 out in the home 7th, and now Jackie Bradley, who has struck out and flied out, 0 for 2 today, 1 for 8 in the series, but the one was a huge one yesterday, that 2-run double that tied the game, and he fouls off first pitch slider from deGrom, 0-1. This has been quite a series.
It has.
That's shut out the Red Sox on Friday night 8-0, a rather historic event against a 100-win team. The 3rd time a shutout that lopsided had never occurred against a 100-win team. Red Sox rallied to beat the Mets yesterday, got some fine bullpen work to make it stand up. And now the Mets have come from 3 runs down to get even today. There's a good off-speed pitch by deGrom, and it's 1-2. Red Sox with those 102 wins. There are only 2 Boston teams that have ever had more. One-two to Bradley. Line, right field, base hit. So Bradley with the 5th Boston hit of the day, a 1-out single. And the tie-breaking run is aboard with a fast man at first base.
Ball away. You got to give the hitters some credit too. They're making a living also.
So Bradley has got 15 steals, including 1 in this series. Carries the tie-breaking run at first. Rafael Devers, the batter. 1 for 2 today. Scored a run in the 3rd after a single to center. And DeGrom takes a look. Jake's given up 13 steals this year, but there have also been 8 caught stealings with DeGrom on the mound, so he's had a pretty good command of the running game. He's exactly at 100 pitches for the day, with Lugo up in the bullpen. And Devers fouls back the fastball, 0-1.
The Red Sox, I've been watching them, and I've looked at Moreland and Holt. They've been looking for that fastball. When you face a good pitcher like this with good secondary pitches, Gary, you've got to sit on that fastball and you get it. You take a hack. And they've been doing that, found it back because he's been elevating that fastball.
There goes Bradley. Devers swings and misses. Plawecki's throw is too late, and Bradley swipes second. 16th steal of the year for Bradley, and the tie-breaking run is in scoring position with 1 out.
Good pitch to steal on. It was a changeup.
DeGrom ahead on Devers, 0-2. The number 9 hitter Christian Vasquez is on deck. But remember, Alex Cora batted for his number 9 hitting catcher yesterday in a big spot. Might not be reluctant to do it again. Rosario shading the runner at second. 0-2 to Devers, and it's off the plate with the changeup, 1-2. Here's Vasquez, who already has a hit today on a hit and run play back in the 3rd. Jake at 103 pitches. He's thrown as many as 116 in the game this year. One, two. Got him looking. 2 men down. Backdoor slider gets Devers. 12 strikeouts now for DeGrom.
Such an effective pitch against the left-hand hitters. That ball maybe 2-3 inches outside, and in the last minute pops in on the corner. Devers knew it.
12 strikeouts, just 1 shy of DeGrom's career high. And now Vasquez with 2 out and a runner at second. So Jake trying to get through the 7th and keep this game right where it is. He's got 1 more out to get. And Vasquez watches the slider off the plate for ball 1. Remember that Tzu-Wei Lin is in the leadoff spot, with Betts having come out because of injury, so Lin is on deck. Left-hand hitter. And Vasquez takes another slider off the plate. So good discipline there by the Red Sox catcher, and it's 2-0. Rare time Jake's been behind the count today. Vasquez out to left. Conforto on the warning track is there to make the catch, and that retires the side. DeGrom presumably done after 7 again. Only 3 runs allowed. 27 straight times if his day is done. After 7, tied at 3. Is brought to you by Jeep, the most awarded lineup of SUVs ever. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. By Aetna Medicare Solutions, Medicare that takes a total approach to health and wellness. And by Buick, experience the new Buick with a test drive at your local Buick dealer. Teddy Ball Game. It's one of the best nicknames ever.
The one and only.
8th inning in a 3-3 game. And the Red Sox will go to their 6th pitcher of the day. Brandon Workman is in to face Wilmer Flores leading off in the 8th. Wilmer drove in a run with a sac fly his last time up. And he moves back off the plate on the curveball, ball 1. Workman in his 2nd year back from Tommy John surgery has had a really good year. Gets that curveball in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Chris Sale, Hector Velasquez, Drew Pomerantz, Heath Hembry, Joe Kelly have all pitched today for the Red Sox, and now Workman in the 8th. After the Mets got 2 in the 6th and 1 in the 7th to tie. And the cutter off the plate, 2-1 to Flores. Michael Conforto on deck, and then Todd Frazier. It appeared as though Jacob deGrom got the handshake from Mickey Callaway between innings, and that his day is over. Grounded foul outside third. So if indeed that is the case, that will be the final line on deGrom. Today's start is brought to you by People's United Bank. 7 innings, 3 runs, 5 hits, 1 walk, 12 strikeouts. And an ERA at the end of the day of 1.78. Still the best in the game. Two coming, and Wilmer gets ahead of it and fouls it into the upper deck, and he got there quickly. So that will make 27 straight starts that deGrom has allowed 3 runs or fewer, and he'll tie a major league record with his 22nd consecutive quality start. 6 innings or more, 3 runs or less. The record set by Bob Gibson in 1968, equaled by Chris Carpenter in 2005, and now Jacob deGrom in 2018. 22 consecutive quality start. Just adding to his already historic ledger.
He is a dominant pitcher. He is proven that.
And he had a hiccup today, but he managed to recover from it. 3-2, and Flores bounces the curveball foul. I mean, he really lost location in that third inning when he gave up the 3 runs. But he was able to locate it, work really without a curveball and without much of a changeup today. But
well, his slider was so good, and he did locate his fastball. So he can be a 2-pitch pitcher, Gary, if he's got one good secondary pitch.
Got a lot of choices.
Yes.
And Wilmer draws a walk. So for the second straight inning, the Mets draw a leadoff walk. Bruce got aboard to start the 7th, came home with the tying run. And now Flores on base to start the 8th. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. The 3 Boston pitchers with 100 saved. Papelbon. Raditz didn't have 100?
I guess he wasn't around long enough. Bob Stanley.
I didn't think of Stanley being a closer for that long, but I guess he was.
Yeah, he was.
You know what? They didn't get as many saves in those days when Raditz was around. Jack Reinheimer's going to run for Flores, carrying the go-ahead run at first base. So now Conforto will step in. Michael drove in a run with a long double off the center fielder's glove in the 6th inning. He's 2 for 3 on the day, and Reinheimer goes diving back. Conforto with his 2 hits today, up to 239 for the year. And he takes the pitch high. Ball 1. Shadow becoming a big issue now. And Reinheimer is picked off. Holt makes the toss, Workman the tag, and Reinheimer, the pinch runner, is tagged out. That hurts. 1-3-6-1 on the caught stealing.
Well, he was looking to steal a bag. Well done on this rundown.
Reinheimer had as many as 39 stolen bases in a minor league season, but looking for his first major league stolen base, it goes awry. So 1 out and nobody on. 1-0 count to Conforto. And he takes a curveball outside from Workman. 2-0.
He was on his way.
He was frozen pizza.
That is a doornail.
A 2-0 cutter, and Conforto swings over it. 2-1. Todd Frazier waiting on deck. He's put together some quality at bats today against a collection of Red Sox relievers after being stymied for the first 3 innings by Chris Sale. And Conforto takes a borderline strike, and it's 2-2. Brandon Workman, now 30 years old, and his career interrupted for 2 years by Tommy John surgery. Two coming, and Conforto goes down swinging. 2 down. Nice job by Workman to battle back from 2-0 to get Conforto for the 2nd out. So it's left to Frazier. Todd is 0 for 3 today. Struck out, fouled out, grounded out. He's got a base hit in 3 career at bats against Workman. And he takes curveball down for ball 1. Looks like Seth Lugo is going to pitch the 8th inning for New York. So DeGrom's only chance for a win is in the hands of Todd Frazier. Hit one over the monster. DeGrom's got a chance. He takes a fastball for a strike, and it's 1-1. Todd's got 18 home runs this year. And 15 of them against right-hand pitchers. Workman bounces the cutter, and it's 2-1. See, there's air traffic at Fenway too. It's just a helicopter. It's not like commercial airliners flying by the stadium. I'm sorry, I called it a stadium. Curveball in for a strike, 2-2. This is the anti-stadium.
Park.
It's the park. (1912). Its 107th year of operation. 2-2 coming, and Frazier takes outside, full count. Jay Bruce would be next. (3-2) from Workman to Frazier, and he goes down swinging on the curveball to end the inning. And DeGrom will get a no decision this afternoon. Middle of the 8th, tied at 3. After Flores left for a pinch runner, and Seth Lugo will pitch the bottom of the 8th. Lugo has been spectacular of late. Tzu-Wei Lin, the first man to face him, and he takes a strike with a curveball. Lugo has had back-to-back appearances with 5 strikeouts. Lin batting for the first time, flies one out to left. Conforto back near the wall, and he's going to have to play it off the fence. And Lin takes a turn at second and holds there with a leadoff double. That's a ball that Conforto might have been able to catch, but with the unfamiliarity with the wall, he wasn't quite sure and turned to play it off the green monster, and it didn't hit all that high on the wall. Yeah, pretty close. But that monster will wreak havoc with left fielders. It's just impossible to know when you haven't played there much, just when to turn and when to try. So the tie-breaking run at second with nobody out. Brock Holt, the batter. Mets play for the bunt, but Holt has no intention of bunting on the first pitch. Holt already has a two-run homer in this game off DeGrom. He had a two-run double in the game yesterday.
Well, you got a left-hand hitter up. He should be able to get something to pull, advance the runner at the minimum. He's a hitter.
Now the Mets have backed up at the corners. Lynn with excellent speed at second. Rosario playing right behind him. And the curveball from Lugo misses 2-0. Seth's last outing was against Miami in the second game of the doubleheader Thursday. Pitched 2 innings, struck out 5. His second straight outing of 2 innings with 5 strikeouts. And he could use some strikeouts right about now. But Holt flies one out to right center. That'll get the runner over. Jackson back to get it. Lynn tags. He'll go to third. And the Red Sox have the go-ahead run at third with 1 out. Boy, Holt has had a tremendous impact on these last 2 games. It doesn't go as a sacrifice. It just goes as a productive play.
Well, it was an off-speed pitch too, something that was like a hanging curve, and that's a pitch you can pull. And that's going to bring the infield in, of course.
So Andrew Benintendi steps in with a chance to get the Red Sox the lead. With Lynn at third and 1 out. Benintendi's 0 for 3 today. Grounded out, lined out, flied out. Frazier holding Lynn at third. And Benintendi swings through the fastball, 0-1.
Lugo just let it go there.
Well, he needs to channel that strikeout pitcher that he's been. 10 strikeouts in his last 4 innings of work. See Benintendi's numbers. He's been great at getting that runner in from third with less than 2 out, well above league average. And he swings and flies one out to right center. That'll get the run home. Lynn tagging at third. Jackson makes the catch. And the Red Sox have the lead back. It's 4-3. A leadoff double and 2 productive fly balls. Benintendi with the sacrifice fly, and it's 4-3 Boston.
The little things, Gary. It's a breaking ball right here. That was just kind of a lazy breaking ball.
So Benintendi's 81st RBI, and Boston has the lead. And now Steve Pearce, who has struck out, walked, and doubled off the wall and left, and he swings and misses at a slider, 0-1. Two out and nobody on, and Pearce grounds one foul. Well, they do not have Kimbrel up in the bullpen. They have Stephen Wright, the knuckleballer.
Wow.
Who might well get the save opportunity. Pearce fouls it away. Kimbrel pitched yesterday, and we're at a time of year now where the Red Sox are trying to get ready for the postseason. They're not going to push him too hard. Wright pitched yesterday, worked the 7th inning effectively, and Alex Cora may bring him in for a save chance. 0-2 to Pearce, and he fouls back the fastball.
You know, we mentioned when the first game, and you mentioned, Gary, how the Red Sox hitters really battle in their at bats, and they have shown it this whole three game series. They're tough outs.
Curveball struck him out, inning over. Lugo gets the strikeout, but not before the Red Sox take the lead. We go to the ninth. Boston 4, Mets 3. Ladies and gentlemen, downtown Boston. Meanwhile, Haji is streaming the Mets. So can you. Watch SNY Mets games on any device with live streaming presented by Verizon. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. Well, here's something different. Stephen Wright, the knuckleballer, not only coming in with his glove, but with the knuckleball catcher's glove. And he will bid for his first career Major League save.
Well, he had 7 saves in the minor leagues, but this will be numero uno for him.
Jay Bruce greets him with a hard ground ball, but playing in the shift, Kinsler is there. 1 pitch and 1 out. Well, the Red Sox trying something a little different. Having a knuckleballer close a game is not unprecedented. Hoyt Wilhelm did it for years. And he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, he is.
But it's not something you see every day. Greg Kimbrell getting the day off, and Wright worked an effective 7th after a couple of walks in yesterday's game. Gets the first out. Now faces Nimmo, who's 0 for 2 and being hit by a pitch. 21 hit batsman this year for Nimmo, as he extends his club record and now has sole possession of the National League lead in that category. One and one to Nimmo. Statcast AI powered by Amazon Web Services. They play him to pull but not overshifted against the knuckleballer. I would imagine the shadows don't matter much with the knuckleball.
Shadows will have an effect here.
Yeah,
it's just not you're not in the sunlight, and the ball has a darker shade.
But you can't possibly know what direction the ball's going in anyway.
I
right?
agree. I agree.
I mean, the pitcher doesn't even know what direction the ball's going. Just throw it without spin and let the air currents take it. And now it's high to Nimmo, and it's 3-1. Kevin Plawecki on deck. Right, the 7th Red Sox pitcher of the afternoon, trying to nail down a 1-run lead in the 9th. And Nimmo takes high, ball 4, and the Mets have the tying run aboard. So Nimmo's on base for the second time today. Wright walked a pair in yesterday's game, but was able to pitch out of it. Now he issues a 1-out walk in the 9th today.
And you've got a situation here with a knuckleball. It could be a wild pitch, a pass ball. It's enough for a catcher to catch a knuckleball, let alone try to throw someone out. Trying an attempted steal.
Well, that's 2 straight days now that Wright has walked Nimmo. He faced Plawecki yesterday and got him out on a fly ball to center. Tying run at first with 1 out, and the knuckleball sits high, ball 1, and Vasquez firing it back at Wright. Guys who catch knuckleballs are never happy. It's not a fun experience.
No.
Vasquez was charged with a pass ball with Wright on the mound yesterday. Although I'm not sure it should have been. It caught the inside corner. Plawecki didn't like the call. 1-1. Looked like the one that was called a pass ball yesterday might have hit the dirt. But you know, the pass balls on the knuckleballs, those were unfair anyway, because nobody knows what's supposed to happen when the ball gets to the plate. Plawecki pops one up, shallow center. Kinsler out to call, and he puts it away, 2 out. And thus the Mets are down to their final out of the afternoon, with Austin Jackson coming up. Jackson faced Wright yesterday with 2 in scoring position and popped up. So Stephen Wright 1 out away from his first career save, as the Red Sox bid for their 103rd win of the season. Jackson's 1 for 3 today and takes the knuckleball inside, ball 1. The 1912 Red Sox won 105. The 1946 Red Sox won 104. And this edition in 2018 has 102 and counting. And that one sits high, and it's 2-0 to Jackson. If Jackson can keep it going, Ahmed Rosario, who's had hits his last 2 at bats, would be next. Rosario got the Mets even in the 7th. Nimmo at first with 2 out, and he has to dive back. That's had a base runner picked off in the 8th. Reinheimer was in to pinch run, and Brandon Workman picked him off to short circuit the Mets' chances. Two 2-0 to Jackson, and the knuckleball in for a strike. 2-1. Wright will throw an occasional fastball, but for the most part, he just keeps on floating them up there. And now it's 2-2. And the Mets are down to their final strength. Two to Jackson, and it's in there for a call, strike 3, and the Red Sox have taken the rubber game of the series. A no decision for DeGrom as he ties a major league record with his 22nd consecutive quality start and strikes out 12, but it's good only